Last night was the finale of Love Island All-Stars, crowning Molly and Tom as the winners, and I have to say, it was the most boring finale of Love Island I have ever watched. In fact, for the majority of the episode, I was just watching TikToks, replying to messages, making my tea. Like, Love Island has just turned into a boring show you have on in the background because you can't be bothered to just either cook in silence or play music. Love Island used to be a household name back in its peak era, where people were actually invested in what was happening on the screen, invested in these islanders and their lives and their relationships. But these past few years, and especially this series, feels drier than an actual desert island. And the fact is that this new all-star show was meant to prevent all of that from happening. It was meant to get people excited again for Love Island, bringing back all of these ex-islanders from the time when the show was at its peak. And yet, it was just plain and simply awful. The worst series Love Island has ever produced. But why is that? Why did it all go so wrong? I think the first and probably biggest problem is the fatigue of Love Island. And in fairness, Love Island is not the only show or movie that people are getting sick of. Since the pandemic, production companies have just been obsessed with established IP and cranking out quantity over quality. The biggest culprits being the Mickey Mouse himself, Disney, where don't even get me started on the countless sequels they're popping out in the next few years, their constant Disney Plus spin-offs, and their lackluster Marvel oversaturated content that just doesn't need to be there. ITV unfortunately has fell into the trap of this with their reality shows. And it's not just Love Island. Big Brother only appeared a few months ago and already a celebrity version is right around the corner. They just don't give their shows enough time to breathe. Love Island is a big commitment. If you truly want to enjoy it, you have to sit up and watch every night, good and bad. This used to be only once a year in the summer when people were relaxing. They had time to just watch boring reality telly. But then now they do it every 6 months and it's just too much. Who wants to see people relaxing in bikinis by the pool in the winter when we're all in the big moments of working? It is a massive oversaturation of Love Island, and since the show follows the same boring format, it has just become so stale. I mean, we had series 8, then 6 months later series 9, 6 months later series 10, 6 months later All Stars. That's 4 bland and time consuming series within only 2 years. And series 11 is coming in the summer as well. We only have to wait like 3 months before that hits our screens. People are bored, and the show isn't changing enough for people to even care. Not even bringing back all these celebrities change things, and the ratings are just going down and down. And that leads us into our next problem. There was no big drama. For every series of Love Island from the early years, from about series 1 to series 7, I can think of massive dramatic moments, and there were so many iconic moments that are still relevant in my head today. This year, I can't think of a single one. I can barely even think of any drama that happened because literally nothing happened. And I couldn't tell you any drama from series 8, 9 or 10. If there was some, I certainly don't remember any. The massive problem with bringing ex-islanders back, who, let's admit, they are basically minor celebrities, is that they're not normal people anymore. Normal people bring drama, and that's the issue with the past few series. All these normal people have came up, but they're going in with the intention of being famous. They're not normal people. Normal people don't care about what the public thinks because they've never had to deal with anything like that, and they don't want to deal with anything like that. The All-Stars, however, are all media trained. Some of them have been doing this for 5, 6, 7, even 10 years. They care about their reputation on the outside, and so there were so many moments in the series where I thought, is there going to be drama? And it just didn't happen because the Islanders, in the nicest way possible, were so well behaved. The only bits of drama I can remember is the Georgia Steele moments with Toby and Callum, and while some people might have found those bits annoying, at least it was something. Heck, we lost most of the Tomorrow Nights from Ian Sterling because there was no drama to show for the next episode because it was so boring. And all of the minor little dramas were basically shown in the Love Island first look. I already got the entire plot of an episode from that 1-minute trailer every day that it meant watching that full hour with ads was absolutely draining. And in fairness, I could see the producers trying to stir up drama with the surprise returns, but the Islanders just didn't do anything with that. The only bits of drama I can remember apart from the Georgia Steele moments is the big ex return moments, like the first episode where Callum is a bombshell and then his ex Molly is a bombshell. It's a massive moment and I loved it, and I thought, oh, this is going to be an insane series, but then that barely even led into an argument or any emotion. It was just sort of passed off. The same thing happened with Tyler and Kaz, and it's because of all of these celebrities are media trained so they don't bring in any drama. And then this made the ending even more unsatisfying because the producers have been editing the show so it looked like Molly and Callum were going to get back together in the hopes of creating drama from that, and it just didn't land whatsoever. And also this leads me on to my biggest issue. The drama from the outside wasn't brought in. The only reason why you would want to watch an all-star series of Love Island is to see all of these islanders who know each other on the outside be locked in a confined space together and see how their relationships on the outside with the knowledge of each other affects things. But it didn't do anything. Molly and Callum and maybe Georgia S and Toby it slightly did, but even then not really. And I do think these moments were mentioned in the actual villa, but ITV for some reason has become so PC and light-hearted that they just didn't show any of it. For example, Georgia S and Joanna's alleged feud from the outside surely should have started some drama. Not to mention that Joanna was getting to know Chris, who just so happens to live with her ex from Chris and her series, Michael. Like, none of that was shown and it could have stirred up so much more. And I think the issue with that is that this show has the potential of wrecking any ex-Islanders' reputation, and ITV just aren't ballsy enough to do that. I mean, when Toby was talking about his last relationship for 1 minute, it was implied to be Chloe Burrows, but the name was never mentioned, and it was only for one scene, then never brought up again, to make sure that the actual Chloe on the outside didn't get affected by it whatsoever. Why do All Stars if you aren't going to include these moments? Let's also not forget there are some hard-hitting stuff that these Islanders have had to go through that could have been shown. As horrible as it is, Georgia H's revenge ex-relationship, Demi's cancer, and the fact that many of these contestants will unfortunately know Islanders who from their series have committed suicide, and many were on the series with Caroline Flack as their presenter. They've all changed, and yet the show hasn't changed with them. It's stayed the same, and it has been the same since 2015, and the times have changed. These people have changed. It doesn't work anymore. And they also just missed some key moments from the format that kept the show interesting. They didn't do Casa Amor, which I get maybe they struggled with getting well-known ex-Islanders to return as it is, let alone for Casa Amor, but the couples this year just didn't feel realistic without it. Looking at you, Georgia H and Anton. They got rid of all of the outside games for some reason, which meant all of the games were the same old dirty question by the fire pit games, which I swear they must have done every other episode in this series, like it gets boring. Then when Islanders left, there was this really awkward interview with Maya Jama, which I think was meant to work, and I get the idea, but it just didn't. And is Maya meant to be nice or not nice? Because I couldn't tell you, she changed so much throughout it. And I just think the format is old and stale. Currently, reality game shows are like The Traitors from BBC, which is embarrassing for ITV, since The Traitors, a company show, got 200,000 more viewers than Love Island did. But that show shows that reality TV is still popular with the general public, but it uses ordinary people, and the format was different, and it wasn't a massive commitment with producers hunting for drama that wasn't there. I think it's safe to say Love Island has ended, and it should end fully, but unfortunately, because ITV loves the money and for some reason can't change their format, it isn't going to end anytime soon.
Something beautiful. Something